All right, welcome everybody to an okay episode of Soccer Over There. It's your host, Nick Aliffi. I'm joined in studio by the Bacon King, my 9-year-old mini-me, Jackie Fresh. And I'm also joined on the live side by the godfather of all things soccer, Mr. Jason Longshore. Jason, we have just an okay show, not a great show tonight. How are you feeling about that?
I'm a little tired, so yeah, it might just be okay. It might not be outstanding. It might not be magnificent. I do have a question, though, before we get started.
Sure.
How did Jackie Fresh become the Bacon King? Why bacon?
You know what? He is a creative soul, and he was kicking around names. He has elected to inform me that I am now behind the times on the Bacon King, and he is now electing to refer to himself as the Fortnite King. So last night he broke out Orange Justice after the Tito goal, and so he is now proclaiming himself as such the Fortnite King. So there we go. We have an update, breaking news here on Soccer Over There.
Yes.
The okay show comes not only from the fact that we are all exhausted from the emotional outpouring last night, but also from the fact that Argentina, the eyes of the world were upon you. And boy, howdy, did you just go full on Chernobyl for all of us. So for those who were following along for Copa Libertadores, and Jason, this is the sad part, is going through my Twitter timeline, I saw so many people who are just casual soccer fans who are like, wow, I'm really looking forward to this Copa Libertadores. The hype is so next level. Everyone's talking about it. And then the worst asset transport that I have ever seen in my life takes place. And I say this from a background in personal protection, physical security from my time in the Marines. Jason, I kid you not, that is the worst, considering the circumstances, the worst asset transit I have ever seen in my life. The bus getting pelted with bricks and rocks and bottles of God knows what, and then finally tear gas gets involved. Complete lack of crowd control, and then you have the fans just running riot, and not just that, but then it gets compounded with CONMEBOL and allegedly FIFA coming in and saying, well, we're not going to postpone. Okay, we're going to postpone. Wait, the game has to be played. Okay, Boca Juniors has to play or they're going to be banned. It was misinformation left and right. I cannot think of a way in which this could have been more poorly handled.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a very complicated situation to begin with because of past drama, because of past, fairly recent history between these two clubs and fans, long-standing history of fan violence, fan altercations in Argentina, just long-standing history of unrest in Argentina, period. It's a fascinating country with a fascinating history, and oftentimes it is a history of promise that doesn't pay off. And that's kind of where we are right now. Would love to know all of the backstory behind this, and we probably never truly will. It's very, very complicated all the way around. Would love to know why that route was chosen for the bus when, according to quite a few people who are on the ground in Buenos Aires, that is not the typical route for a bus to take into El Monumental. Don't know why that changed for this one, especially when there were fans queued up right there, ready to go. It's just nuts. It sounds like now CONMEBOL will be announcing the new date for the Copa Libertadores second leg of the final tomorrow. I think they're meeting tomorrow. I don't see any way it happens in Buenos Aires. I don't see any way it happens at El Monumental. It's got to happen soon, and this is where the FIFA involvement is somewhat necessary because the FIFA Club World Cup kicks off in about 3 weeks. The winner of this is going. You got to have a winner like yesterday. So this is a problem all the way around. You don't have time to just play around. On top of that, you have the G20 summit coming to Buenos Aires this weekend. So you're not playing in Buenos Aires this weekend. That's not happening. It's so many different levels of screw up that I don't. We could spend days and still not get to the bottom of it. It's a shame for what promised to be a great match, a match that now will get played, but will forever be tainted because it won't happen as it should have. It sucks for Gwen agrees. For soccer fans, it 100% just sucks to see this type of thing happen. It's the thing that I would say before I get off the subject is I know a lot of people have went back and forth about, well, we want passion in the United States following the game, but we don't want this. Look, this is not passion. This has nothing to do with passion. This is a whole nother level of societal issues that have nothing to do with the passion of the team, passion for the team, the passion for the game. Soccer in Argentina is not the same as it is here. It's not the same, honestly, as it is in many countries. It is unique, and it is tied up with violence. It is tied up with corruption. It is tied up with political influence. It's tied up with everything you can imagine. It is not sport as we have known it in the United States. So it is very hard to compare. It's not fair to compare it. It's not fair to judge it based off what you see with the NFL or Major League Soccer or the Premier League or anything else. It is a very complicated situation. I'll be very curious to see how CONMEBOL gets out of it because I just don't see any way this can get played in Argentina. I don't think it's going to. I think this is going to get played at a neutral site. Grant Wall reported a little bit ago that Miami is pushing very hard for it. That would work. I think it's probably going to be in South America, though. I think it'll probably be in Santiago, Chile, or Lima, Peru, somewhere like that, because it has to get played quickly, but there's no way you're going to be able to do that at El Monumental or in Buenos Aires anywhere.
I would like to approach this from a slightly different angle. You know, we try to do things a little differently on soccer over there, and I want to talk about it from a security aspect and things where I tried looking at as many different angles and as many different videos as possible. And what I did not see was a QRF, or what we call in the service a quick reaction force, which would be heavier duty police, heavily armed, coming in at a certain point when you started seeing that the crowd was building to a certain level of frenzy and or mass. Then I did not see the option for multiple ingress and egress routes, which is absolutely mind-bending, considering this. Everyone knew the stakes of how big this game was. Everyone knew that the world was watching the G20 summit, like you talked about, right around the corner, world leaders coming in. You have to be absolutely buttoned up. And what I mean by multiple ingress and egress routes for people who are kind of arching an eyebrows means no matter what you do when you're transporting a high-value asset, you have to have multiple ways in to your destination and then multiple ways out. So in the event that something goes wrong on Route A, we go to Route B. And along those routes, we have other options where, okay, using helicopter surveillance, we could say, hey, look, about a mile ahead, you're running into some issues. Why don't we go ahead and break off to Route B now? There should be multiple options here. And the real question here, Jason, is let's say Boca goes to El Monumental, wins. Based on that crowd reaction, there's no way in the world you could get them out on ground. And I made some tweets that were kind of jokey looking that you were going to have to use helicopters to get them out. I look at this now and I'm like, I think that's actually probably the most viable solution to getting Boca out of El Monumental. You get them out via helicopter, park them at the helicopters at midfield, load the players up, get them out. And it's incredibly depressing that that's the situation that we were looking at. And you're right. It's not passion. It's stupidity. I mean, you as a fan, look, college football, LSU, the buses pull up, the crazy Cajuns run up and start bashing the bus and all that. Yes, it's borderline stupidity, but the players aren't getting hurt. If you see the bus and the photos that were coming out from the players with shattered windows. We're talking about the chances of people dying. Okay, and when you're talking on that level, we've gone to a different location in time and space. Okay?
The bus driver fainted. The bus driver fainted, and one of the club directors had to take the wheel, or the bus could have crashed into the crowd of people, into something else. I mean, that's what happened here. This is beyond anything that we've seen in the United States. This is beyond normal sport because it's not. It has nothing to do with it. This is a whole other thing entirely. I mean, let's get into this part of it because, okay, River fans do this. For some reason, the bus goes down this route. Fans chuck everything imaginable at the bus. I mean, if you haven't seen video from the other side of the bus, a gigantic, looked like champagne bottle goes flying over the bus and clocks a River fan on the other side. It's just madness. But a few years ago, when River and Boca faced off in, I believe, the quarterfinals of the Copa Libertadores, River was coming out of the tunnel for the second half and got pepper sprayed. Boca Juniors was kicked out of the competition. Game was called. Boca Juniors kicked out of the tournament.
Yep.
So people started to try to turn on Boca, I think, as things went on Saturday when Boca said, we're not playing, and then again on Sunday. There's some precedent here about the whole situation. I think CONMEBOL is probably going to avoid it because this didn't happen in the stadium. It happened outside the stadium, but it's a mess all the way around, and there are so many layers of history to it. And you also have lots of issues with Barra Bravas, which are borderline mafia organizations that support both of these clubs, and there's involvement with things there. It's a nightmare to deal with, and CONMEBOL doesn't have time to parse through all that. They've just got to get a game played. Because not playing it and awarding it to Boca would be the worst thing that can happen.
Absolutely.
Not playing it, if Boca says we're not playing and they just give it to River, that would be the worst thing that could happen. That'd be even worse. You got to play the game somewhere and get it done so you can move on. And CONMEBOL has to figure that out tomorrow.
And there have been several, I'll toss it out there, options thrown out for them. Because and before we get to that, I want to say that the Minister of Security for Buenos Aires, Martin Ocampo, has officially resigned, and considering that the G20 summit is coming literally this weekend, the timing could not be worse for Buenos Aires in general. So again, the tragedy just compounds upon itself. But there was an option thrown out there that I'm actually okay with, and I think that and I understand what you're saying, that, hey, look, it probably will be played in Chile or somewhere else in South America. The United Arab Emirates, where the Club World Cup will be taking place, has offered up and said, hey, look, you guys can come play here, and then the winner just stays, and the loser goes home. I'm actually okay with that.
It's your last resort. I mean, that's your last option, yeah.
It would be. But then you have, so the United Arab Emirates and then Genoa came in out of left field and said, hey, you guys can play here as well, which, hey, if you're the losing team in that's not exactly a bad place to end up. Spend a couple of days in Italy before hightailing back to Argentina. But the fact that CONMEBOL has to go through this, and Boca says they're going to take it to the courts and try to get a result. Like I'm with you. I don't think anything's really going to come of it. But at the end, this was a prime opportunity where the world was looking at Argentine Super League and could say, hey, look, these guys know how to handle this. The passion, the intensity, the exciting ball, everything was there for you to build a global audience, and you blew it. It's gone. It's not coming back. When Felipe Cardenas gets on Twitter and says, yeah, I really don't care about the final anymore. What?
But this is where I'll disagree with you. It will come back because it always does. I mean, this is the story of Argentine soccer.
No, but I'm talking about this level, though, Jason. This level where you have the Copa Libertadores final.
It'll absolutely come back. You will get two Argentine teams in a Copa Libertadores. It won't be a two-leg, and the final will be in a neutral site, which is probably for the best, to be honest, if teams can't handle this. But it'll come back because it always does. I mean, you had after Maradona's time, it was said that Argentina will never be able to compete like that again. They did. After the league had been suspended multiple different times, players go on strike because they weren't getting paid, government's about to go bankrupt, everything, it will come back because it always does. It's the story of unfulfilled promise, and that's what it has always been, and that's the romanticism around Argentina. It's a country that at different points in its history has been looked at as a potential superpower in the world and has just never been able to keep it together long enough to actually see something like that happen. That's why you get incidents like this. This wouldn't happen in other countries because they have different societal setups, different backgrounds, different histories, different levels of corruption. It's a real shame. I mean, you're to the point now where, here's a couple quick updates on different things around the match. Remember the fan who was caught strapping flares to her kid?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she's been identified and arrested. Okay, so that's happened.
Progress.
Pablo Perez, who had glass slivers around his eye, in his eye, went to the hospital, got checked out. He would not confirm or deny that the ambulance that he left the stadium in had rocks thrown at it. Just everything imaginable. River's president, Rodolfo D'Onofrio, is in Paraguay tomorrow in Asunción for the meeting with CONMEBOL. River have prepared their defense. Basically what I was saying a minute ago, the fact that the incidents happened away from the stadium and city security was in charge. And with the security minister resigning, that defense will probably work. But will CONMEBOL risk having another game at El Monumental in this situation when they can't do it this weekend because of the G20? And River also has Copa Argentina semifinals to deal with that have to get played at some point.
Wow.
I mean, you've had league matches postponed for these games. It's just absolute and utter chaos, and CONMEBOL has to get it resolved tomorrow. And as we saw on Saturday and Sunday, CONMEBOL is not exactly the quickest organization to make decisions. You had fans, and this was something that I was saying on Twitter, and people were like, it won't be that big of a deal. I'm like, if you're going to suspend this thing, you need to do it now, and you need to have a plan to get out of there because you've got angry fans right now trying to bust in the gates to get in the stadium because they think a game's going to get played. You cancel this thing, you're looking at a Guns N' Roses concert from 1991. You're looking at Axl Rose slamming the mic down and walking off and a riot tearing the building apart. That's what you're looking at. Luckily, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but the shot of Fox Deportes interviewing the president of River, D'Onofrio, and he has to sprint out of the shot because of people running into the stadium behind him down the corridor. If that didn't scare the crap out of you, I don't know.
I read a tweet that said that officials required 60 police officers just to get to a meeting.
Yeah,
to figure out what was going on. One last thing from Pablo Perez before we go to break, and because a lot of people, especially with Atlanta United, the way that they build through largely Argentine talent, the question gets asked frequently: why do players want to leave Argentina, where they are mega superstars, and come to a league that is quote unquote on the world stage a lesser league? From Pablo Perez: if I lose my eye, no one will return it. I have a wife and 3 children. I will not go back to play in a stadium where we can die.
Yeah.
I don't blame the guy. Come to the U.S., Pablo, get your money. We're here. You can go anywhere you want. Buckhead has phenomenal restaurants lined up and waiting for you there, Chief, and we will love you like no other. And with that, we will go to break. It's soccer over there. Aliffi, Jason Longshore, the Fortnite King, Jackie Fresh, and
nice.
We will be right back.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Soccer Down Here is sponsored by Apolinski and Associates, LLC, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience. Call Steve Apolinski at 518-350-4231 or email him at steve@aa-legal.com if you need help with a wrongful death or serious injury matter. Steve Apolinski is rated one of the top 100 trial attorneys in Georgia, recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend magazine for being one of the most effective lawyers in Georgia.
All right, soccer over there. We are back. Thanks for sticking with us. It's Nick, Jason, and my mini-me clone, Jackie Fresh, the Fortnite King. And we are all hanging out here. We are done talking Copa Libertadores. I'm sorry. I'm moving on from it. Hit me up whenever the game is going to be played, and I will be all on board again. But for right now, we are going to the leagues that are actually playing, and we are going to start off with Serie A. It was an interesting weekend because you had a couple of matches that did not go remotely as we thought they would. I'm starting mainly with Roma, and Roma was in prime position to work their way back up the standings, currently sitting at 7th in the table. Di Francesco already on the hot seat. And here's the thing is that Di Francesco is getting not just heat from the fan base, but also from Jim Pilata, the president. And here's the thing. If you take the Roma gig, you have to understand that you're a selling club, meaning that what I mean by selling club is not just, okay, we're going to sell 1 or 2 good players. If you are a player of remote value, you have a price tag, you're sitting in the window, and at any moment you could be plucked. And that's a tough gig for a team in Serie A that has to keep up with the Juves and the Napolis and the Inters of the world. Milan somehow hanging on at 5th, insane injuries left and right. We'll talk more about them in a moment. But Di Francesco losing to Udinese, they're languishing at 16 in the table. That is a match that will absolutely not just put you on the hot seat, but get you to like Chernobyl levels. So look out for moves from Roma probably in the next month or so. If Di Francesco can't turn this around or he starts stumbling even really in the Champions League, then, he could be on his way out. I mean, at the moment, Roma's sitting at 2 in Group G. That's not bad, but there's still games left to be played. So if Roma can continue Champions League form, they'll be okay. They will somehow survive. Di Francesco, maybe will keep his job to the end of the year. But I think at the end, Jason, Di Francesco's gone. I'm sorry. I just don't see a way for him to stick around.
Question real quick.
Yeah.
Roma's in 7th. They're 19 points in Serie A at the moment.
Yep.
What is the breakdown on Champions League, Europa League spots in Serie A?
Top 4 go Champions League. I want to say 2 down go Europa.
Okay.
I want to say 5, 6 go Europa.
Copa Italia get a Europa spot or something?
That I'm not familiar with. That one That one I need to do more studying up on.
So that factors in here. I mean, Roma is 4 points out of fourth. Lazio is on 23. Then there's a jump up to the top three with Inter, Napoli, and Juve. So, Roma, I mean, there's a collection, a gaggle, if you will, of clubs around them. Sassuolo, Atalanta, Fiorentina, Torino, all within a point. Parma's 1 point ahead of them. You could easily see Roma, at the end of the next match week, they could be as low as 12th.
Oh, yeah. No, and that's something and that's a very, very good point that you're making, because Fiorentina is one of those teams that if they have the ability and the talent to pick up steam and start making serious progress. And with all the turmoil that's going on with Roma, the fact that they're not a deep squad, the fact that there is some discombobulation for the league side, not the Champions League side, that kind of disconnect between Champions League and Serie A could really start affecting them as far as their positioning goes. And Sassuolo, do I think they're going to make a tremendous amount of progress? Probably not, but they have the firepower to do it. But Fiorentina, keep an eye out for them, because if Fiorentina gets hot, you're 100% correct. Roma could drop down. They end up in 12th. Sampdoria, then you're fighting with Sampdoria and Genoa. At 12 and 13, Sampdoria can score goals at will. Piontek, if they can keep him through the winter transfer window, which I'm not sure they're going to do, they could get hot at any point. So you're 100% correct. Roma could fall very quickly like a drunken kamikaze pilot if they're not careful, which is going to put a tremendous amount of pressure on them in the winter transfer window and put a lot of pressure on Giampolata to maybe pull the trigger on Di Francesco probably a little faster than he was planning if they start dropping down to 9th and 10th. Because when do you make that move, right? I mean, they have a tremendous amount of financial trouble that they're just now getting themselves out of. So it's not like they can go and dump a ton of cash into the team. But, you get a transfer here, get a transfer there, bolster the squad. I don't know. But no, I think this could go very badly for Roma very quickly. Meanwhile, Milan is probably in the same boat. When you start seeing the fact that they had to have 3 points to try to regain that fourth spot, that Champions League spot. But, Borini, Kessie, they all had some decent play. Donnarumma wasn't terrible, but Milan made 0 adjustments, and Lazio capitalized. Correa got that goal in stoppage time to equalize everything. But there's been the same issue with AC Milan, Jason, where there's discombobulation with the team, and their side is based on injuries, not the fact that they keep shooting themselves in the foot by transferring their great players out. And as a result of this, you have it up late and right. And it gets worse, Jason, because now it's entered the realm of politics with Milan. The vice prime minister and super Milan fan Matteo Salvini went in on Gennaro Gattuso for not using his subs. Gattuso.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, indeed. And Gattuso fired back by telling him to stick to politics. And like any good politician, Salvini backtracked and said Gattuso is quote, the best manager Milan can have right now, which is really a backhanded compliment toward the Milan side. Because and so he also said he would call Gattuso to try to smooth the waters, but with that comment, I don't think he's going to get exactly the best reception.
No.
But
no. Okay, so a couple things on Milan.
Yeah.
The Zlatan rumors will continue until something gets decided there. What would you put for a percentage on Ibrahimovic ending up in Milan in January?
20%.
20? So possible but unlikely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really? Hold on, Jack, what do you think?
100%.
He says,
Whoa, okay.
He says the move is happening, guys. Put your money down, bet the farm. I don't think it's going to happen because I think LA Galaxy learned a lot from their time with Beckham and the injury that he sustained with Milan. And we have to start looking at players as what they are, which are assets, right? Especially when you look at the eyeballs that Ibrahimovic brings to the Galaxy, they want to be extraordinarily careful. If they rework his contract with certain guarantees and clause upon clause upon clause, quote, there will be lawyers. maybe you can bump that up to 35. But the rumors I'm seeing are that the Galaxy's putting the kibosh on it and saying, no, you're not going. So,
yeah, I don't see it happening if the Galaxy are thinking about him in any kind of long-term way. The only way I see it happening is if there is a good windfall for the Galaxy for this to happen, and then it's bye-bye, you're not coming back to Los Angeles, because you're not going to loan him for 6 months and then bring him back in the second half of the season. You're not going to do that. You're not going to re-up with him, because this is the final year of his contract. He signed a 2-year deal with LA for $1.5 million per. I think it comes down to if he actually holds out like he's talking about and says he wants more money to stay, the Galaxy are going to have to figure out a number. And if they want him, they're going to have to pay that number. If they don't, then take whatever you can get for him and let him go. I think it's just down to that. I don't think it's even in the Beckham world of, well, you're looking at loaning him, and then you've got him under a long-term deal and this and that. That was really complicated. This, I think it's easy. I think if he wants more, the question for the Galaxy, because right now, this is the biggest issue, is you don't have a designated player spot. You can't pay him more money.
Exactly.
If you move Alessandrini or either of the Dos Santos brothers, then you can pay him more money. But how much more money do you want to pay him? And does he want 2 more years instead of the year that he has left? Are you just giving him more money for this year? You got to make a move to open up a slot, and then you got to find the number that makes sense. If it doesn't, whatever Milan's going to give you, say bye.
Well, not just that, but if we remember the hot drop from over the Thanksgiving break, I talked about loan structure and why teams do loans and how that can help them from a financial standpoint, structure a deal to be more palatable for regulators. I think what the Galaxy may be looking at here is not loan with option to buy, but loan with obligation to buy.
Right.
If they do loan with obligation to buy, then I think that absolutely the deal gets done. But I think that's the sticking point.
But here's the tricky thing about that. This is why it's different. If he had 2 years left, easy, could totally see that. You make it work. You deal with the regulators. You make it happen. You only got a year. So if you loan him for 6 months with an obligation for Milan to buy him in the summer window, if it's literally just because Milan can't afford to pay a transfer fee in January, but they could in July, okay, fine. That's you're getting the money one way or another. It's the same thing. It's just moving pieces around. If there's any kind of question about it, about option to buy, then the Galaxy have no reason to do it, because you've only got him under contract for 12 more months.
And not just that, but if you're the Galaxy, keep in mind that you have a player who's now starting to try to dictate when he will and won't play on turf.
Yeah, buy.
So
for me, it's buy. Whatever you can get, you say buy. If you have to do it as a loan with an obligation to buy, okay, fine. If there's a loan fee, great. If there's a player, okay, cool. Whatever it is, get something and move on, because Zlatan Ibrahimovic is not lifting MLS Cup with the LA Galaxy in 2019, and he's not coming back in 2020. So, adios.
I think you're 100% right on that. And like we talk about, I think a lot of fans have to get out of their emotional their emotional side when it comes to these player transfers, and just understand that you have a depreciating asset sitting on your bench right now, where he comes in and
depreciating asset in the term of Zlatan because of his age.
Exactly, age and injury history.
Yeah.
So, and if you look at from the MLS side, it's not just rapidly diminishing; it's collapsing. Because if you talk about bringing him in halfway through the season, and then you have to whittle down the games in which they would be on turf, if they're not in playoff contention at that point, what's the likelihood he doesn't try to just sit himself on the bench and say, well, Zlatan will not play. Zlatan does not play on turf or grass for losing teams. Then he's no good to you anyway. So I think you're 100% right, Jason. Make the move, get him out, and just be done with it. We have to get out of this era of the old aging superstar player where we just set a pile of cash on fire. I think MLS, that's the one last growing pain we have to get through, is that side of it, and it'll happen.
MLS has generally been good about that. They've been pretty smart about these situations. And luckily, I mean, here, it's $1.5 million of TAM. It's not an astronomical number. It's not the Giovanni Dos Santos contract, which is much more difficult to deal with if you're the Galaxy. If you can get anything to make it worth it, you move on. You put the video out. You give him an In-N-Out burger at the airport, and you say bye.
Well, and again, it's about that brand building, and I know that that's what he wanted, but it's not helping MLS. It's not helping the Galaxy. But if it can help Milan a little bit, I have no problems with it. I still think it's a bad move for Milan even. They're a lot younger talent at a lot better price. And they can look no further down in Genoa with Christoph Piatek, who's moving ahead of Ronaldo on the scoring sheet. But he's a tremendous talent. And I think that you can probably get a guy like that. Yeah, it's going to cost you some cash, probably about 80 mil or so. But when you talk about a player that is being looked at by Barcelona and Real Madrid, then if he wants to stay in Italy, then maybe Milan calls up and says, okay, let's talk financing and how we get this deal done. I think he's a far, far better option than Zlatan Ibrahimovic. But, that's my take on it. But Genoa versus Sampdoria, they finished with a 1-1 draw. That was actually an exciting game. ESPN Plus is the greatest thing ever. You should seriously consider buying it if you don't have it already. Watch that game on replay because it's there, it's good, and unlike Copa Libertadores final, the game actually took place. But it's their tifo. I have to give them credit. Atlanta had an outstanding tifo last night. If you're listening and you're not an Atlanta fan, just take a deep swallow and just check it out. It's a really good video. But Genoa versus Sampdoria, Sampdoria was the home side for this one, and they went all out. I'm talking fireworks and full-sided tifo and everything. It was beautiful, beautiful to watch. Really well done. I'm really impressed with it. But Jason, the standings are what the standings are. It's Juve and everyone else. Napoli missed a tremendous opportunity to put pressure on Juve. Now the difference is 37 points at the top for Juve, Napoli at 29, Inter at 28. So really it's a battle for second, and then the rest of the Champions League spots before we get too far down that road. But I definitely want to say that the Champions League is really where the action is, and Serie A is showing out. I'm really proud of Serie A at the moment. Look, you have Juve in Group H and first, Roma in the second spot in Group G, and then when we start scanning, we have Napoli in Group C at number 1, and then you have Inter at the second spot in Group B. So Serie A really showing their teeth, even though domestically it looks like a one-team league. When you start looking globally, hey, my boys aren't doing too bad, huh? So
sometimes it may be good.
Sometimes good. Sometimes it may be expletive deleted because the child is in the room. So, so just keep an eye out for Serie A, guys. Look, I know it can get boring sometimes when we talk about Juve and everyone else, but really to watch a Juve game and understand what you're seeing. I am not a Juventus fan. My son is. I will tell you that what Juventus is doing right now is like it eyeballs are going to roll. It's almost the dominance of what Barca had a few years back, right? That's if you go back 5 years with Barca, and this is what you're seeing with Juventus now, where it's so insane what they're doing. When teams step on the field, you can stop one guy, game plan for one guy, and we're going to stop Ronaldo. We're going to throw everything at Ronaldo. Okay, good. Mandzukic, Dybala. And, okay, there's a whole laundry list of other players you're not going to stop. Good luck to you. And so for the teams like Napoli, you're trying to play financial catch-up. Their financial fair play can't necessarily do it, but when you look at that slow build of all the pieces that Juventus has pulled in, one after the other, it's really, really impressive to watch them work at this point. So
they're in action tomorrow in Champions League. Valencia coming to town. Other action tomorrow, Roma, Real Madrid. That will be interesting because everything with Madrid at this point is kind of strange.
My God. How quickly Solari was the guy who was going to solve all the problems. Everything was going to be great, and then
that lasted about a week.
That was about a week.
Yeah. Lyon, Manchester City, Manchester United, Young Boys, Hoffenheim, Shakhtar, Bayern, and Benfica. Let's see. Wednesday, Atletico Madrid, Monaco, Dortmund, and Bruges. PSG, Liverpool will be rather interesting. Napoli and Red Star, PSV and Barca, Tottenham and Inter will be rather interesting.
Yeah, the game to watch for me is PSG because there's so much on PSG Liverpool. PSG put out a release saying they're wearing their white Jordan kits, which start your France surrendering jokes now. But there's so much that can go sideways with this because if PSG loses, it's over for them. I mean, you're already sitting in third behind Liverpool and Napoli, who are pretty much having fun at this point. And what are you going to do with that roster? I mean, there's already
because this is all that matters for you. I mean, winning the league is like whatever.
Yeah, let's go to the league table. They're sitting at 42 points right now. 42 points. Next team down, 27. The league's over.
Yeah, done.
So great. You have one of the most expensive rosters ever constructed. But and here we go. This is what happens when you have a team where everything's built on Champions League, nothing domestically.
Juve.
You have Dembele from Barcelona. Says he's had some run-ins, right? Not showing up to practice, showing up late. The mindset's not there. So there's rumor out there through ESPN and La Porteria where they say $100 million and Dembele to PSG for Neymar to get Neymar back to Barcelona. Now, the rumor goes on to say it seems that Neymar and PSG have an agreement in place to let him go for $200 million, which will solve a lot of their financial fair play issues.
That would solve anybody's financial fair play issues.
Exactly.
Yeah, $200 million. It's going to solve some problems. It's going to pay a few bills.
It's going to pay a few bills. Now the thing is that should tell you how bad PSG is right now with their finances, right? That if they can allow that to happen, sure, $200 million, get out the door. The Dembele would always obviously be the make weight player or the person who can make this work. But getting Neymar's wages off the books, getting at least $100 million in cash to come in and take care of that's fine. That's great, good for them. But there's also a story, Jason. This is bad. That if somehow this deal falls apart, Real Madrid, ready, willing, and able to pay the $200 million to get Neymar in.
Dun.
That's right. They won't go away, right? The big boys won't go away. So I think that's probably the one thing that could actually help them, considering that if Real was a team that was built around a singular talent like Ronaldo, if they can get Neymar in and somehow Neymar decides that he's not going to steal the ball off of his fellow players' feet in mid attack, which has been happening at PSG, then maybe that can work out for him. But the accelerator,
you don't have any matches that mean anything when your league and Ligue 1 is even more exaggerated than Serie A. We talked about it with Juve, and Juve's kind of in this boat in some ways. Champions League or bust. That's their year. That's everything that they are worried about because the league is kind of an afterthought. Juve has a nice cushion at the top of the league. PSG, the league matches mean nothing. There's no reason to be motivated. There's no reason to be excited. There's no reason to care. It's all about Champions League. And your Champions League run could be done in 2 more games.
Yep, exactly. And that's the accelerator in all of this. Because if PSG loses to Liverpool, and let's just say they don't just lose to Liverpool, they lose badly to Liverpool. I think the deal gets done. I think they announce it like mid-December. Hey, this is the deal. It's done. It's happening. Neymar gets his wonderful, huge thank you celebration from the PSG faithful, and he's on his way out. But everything now is hinging on this run because that's why this team was assembled, was to win the Champions League. And obviously, if they're struggling now, it's not happening. There's more crazy transfer stuff going on, Jason. You want to get into that?
Oh, of course.
Okay. Radio Rossonera is reporting that Milan is trying to grab 3 Chelsea players. 3, Cesc Fabregas, Gary Cahill, and Andreas Christensen. How? How are they?
That sounds like a fantasy.
That sounds like garbage. Jack, what are your thoughts? Does that sound garbage or what?
I want Eden Hazard to go.
You want Eden Hazard to go? You want
William and Courtois
to Milan?
Yeah.
No, that's not happening.
Yeah, it is.
That's not happening. Okay. So okay. I'm glad you say that. But here's the thing. Eden Hazard has said it's impossible for him to leave Chelsea in January, but he's open. He's keeping his options open for a summer transfer. Okay. The likelihood of that happening, I think, I'm not going to say nil. I'm going to say that I'm going to put him moving from Chelsea right now at 60%. I'm a little over halfway.
Okay.
You want to move to Juventus? He's not moving to Juventus. They have too much money's tied up with them. So they've spent so much money, and there's rumor that somehow Pogba is going back to Juventus in January. I don't even know how financially they would make that work. The player outflow would be insane. But yeah, it's a rumor, and I'm talking about it. So
buying $50.
No, but the thing is right now is that I don't see a way that Milan can make that happen. Maybe they can get one or two of the guys. Cesc Fabregas, they could probably get him at a very reasonable rate. Gary Cahill, I don't know. Christensen, is John Nelson out there? Is he on the radio dials with us at the moment?
No, he is not.
Okay. Well, when he joins us, I would like to get his input on this because with the way that Milan's finances are set up right now, I don't know that they can afford a night out on the town for dinner, much less 3 Chelsea players in one hit. So
it's
I don't know.
CC's Pizza for Milan. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. No, it's absolute CC's Pizza. You're not even hitting Chick-fil-A up on that one. Okay.
Yeah, you're not going to the nice pizzeria down the street. It's CC's. No. You just got to stuff your face and hope to survive.
That's pretty much it. There's no to-go boxes leaving CC's Pizza today. Okay.
Oh, no.
You got to survive the buffet, Chief. That's all you're doing. A couple of things I want to get into. Some late breaking news. Zach Steffen to Man City. Man City. It's okay. It happens. So Man City for roughly $7 to $10 million were the numbers tossed around by Paul Tenorio.
Good number.
I think the number to me makes sense, which is the first part of how I value transfer rumors. Does the number make sense to the player's valuation? That makes sense to me. The location, though, that screams bad move for him.
For Steffen, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The number sounds realistic. It's a number that Columbus would sell for. It's a number that is not out of line for Zach Steffen and his value. But you are going to a club where let's make a couple things clear. Zach Steffen's not playing for Manchester City anytime soon, no matter how good he is currently. And the biggest reason why is Zach Steffen's not good enough with his feet.
Correct.
Period. And you're not playing for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola if you are not essentially a field player in goal with your feet. Ain't happening. Ask Joe Hart how that went. It's not happening. So if you go to Manchester City is basically acquiring an asset who could turn into something. Okay, that's nice. It'll sell some more shirts in the U.S. Okay, yeah, it's part of the deal. But if you're Zach Steffen, where are you going to play? What are you going to do? Are you going to sit the bench? Are you going to play cup games? Are you going to get a random start here or there? Are you going to go out on loan? Where are you going to go out on loan? It's not a smart move for Zach Steffen, in my opinion. The salary would have to be ridiculous for it to make any sense. And for the long-term development standpoint, if you're a U.S. men's national team fan, I don't think you want this move to happen because Zach Steffen's not going to develop any further being loaned out or playing some cup games for Manchester City. I just don't see it happening.
No, the loan, I think, is the key thing here. Is it if you're Zach Steffen's agent, that's what you really want to make sure of. When you're talking to Man City, you can't get lost with the sky blue. You can't get lost with the crest and the fact of the treasure trove of talent they have available, the management, all of it. You have to put all of that aside and say, okay, what's going to happen to my client when he arrives day one? All right, I see coming in, signing a contract, and then immediately being handed orders to go to Team X for a loan. If so, what teams are in play right now? Because this needs to make sense for my guy in order to make this move happen. And this is really where you're going to see if his agent is doing the due diligence required. Now, once you become property of the team, you can yell and moan all you want that you don't want to go on loan, but really, you're sort of putting yourself in their hands. I really believe that if he goes to the right team on loan, this could be great for him. It could be great for the U.S. men's national team if he develops that footwork that you talked about. Because his ability to stop shots like out of nowhere, we've seen it. In the city of Atlanta, we are well versed in Zach Steffen pulling saves out of his rear end that had no business being saved. But to develop that other part of his game is a requirement. I think Roma would have been better simply because if you look at the work that they're doing now with Olsen, the work that they did previously with Allison Becker, that would be a great landing spot for him. But obviously that move's not going to happen. I don't know. I couldn't even fathom where they're going to end up sending him. But I would say that it needs to be somewhere good where he's going to get substantial playing time to make sure that this isn't just a grab for jerseys and eyeballs in the U.S., which it kind of smells like to me.
What if he gets loaned to New York City?
It's very possible. I mean, it could happen. All these fans that are like, yes, finally, we get Zach Steffen out. My son was jumping up and down like, yes, finally, playing Columbus won't be so difficult. And it's like, well, what if he gets loaned back to New York? Well, problem. So that could be a decent landing spot for him, though. If you're a U.S. men's national team, are you a little bit happier about that move?
That's interesting.
Yeah, hold on, Jack. What are you saying?
If Zach Steffen even went to Manchester City, he wouldn't even get to play. So why the big deal? Just stay at Columbus or just move to Roma.
Yeah, just go to a different.
Here is one rumor that's out there. Roger Gonzalez of CBS Sports says, sources tell CBS Sports that Manchester City plans to loan Steffen out to begin. I'm told that it could be an affiliate club, and the most likely destination I hear is Girona of La Liga.
Hey, that would be great for him.
That's not bad.
I'm okay with that move.
Yeah, if that's the case, I can give this a hesitant thumbs up.
Yes. Okay. Then we'll move that to a hesitant thumbs up. So Tyler Adams came out after the Red Bull Atlanta game and said that maybe time to test the waters in Europe. Going to Leipzig. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Tyler Adams? Time to go? Does he need another year of hanging out, or is this it for him?
He's checked out mentally, and that buzzing you could hear and all the noise in the background would be our friend John Nelson. He has crashed in like the Kool-Aid Man into the party.
Oh, yeah. Old Macho Man Randy Savage should wrap up the show.
There we go. So earlier we were talking about a rumor where Milan was going to sweep in for 3 Chelsea players, Cesc Fabregas, Gary Cahill, and Andreas Christensen.
Not happening.
Okay.
I think this is an absolutely buffoonish rumor. What is your immediate hot take, sight unseen, coming in cold take of that particular rumor?
I think it is a rather foolishy kind of a rumor thingy. But the one thing that I would caution is the current state of the diminishing checkbook of the owner of Chelsea, Roman Abramovich. And depending on how poor he is, and I put that word in quotes, depending on how much of a hit he has taken financially over the last year or so with everything going on worldwide, how much does he need that kind of financial relief? Radio Rossonero reports that the sporting director, Leonardo, direct contact with the Blues over that. So, for me, I look at silly season exactly that, but I've always had the skeptical gene, and anything is possible. And really, I think it would come down to Saudi, and if he wants them out. I mean, what would be the vibe of the manager here when it comes to Fabregas, Cahill, and Christensen? I could see, Christensen's not getting any playing time. Cahill can be frustrating at times, and Fabregas, is the outlay worth the effort? 135 appearances since joining from Barcelona in 2014, came over from Arsenal, but 49 appearances, 3 goals last year, but he's only made it 9 times on the pitch under Saudi. So this might be part of a house cleaning.
And that's really, and I want all the Chelsea fans out there to know that what you saw this past weekend with Chelsea, where they got shellacked by Spurs, these games will happen under Saudi, because Saudi is not known for making crazy adjustments. He's one of those guys who says, I will live and die playing this way. And it's part of what got him in hot water at Napoli at times, because the squad ran down, they were burned out, happened. So if you're a Chelsea fan, just understand those kind of games will happen. And I think he's going to have to also deal with the fact that the competition on the top end of the Premier League probably a little more robust than it is in Serie A, where they can hang goals up on you very, very quickly. So I think that this particular rumor, even though Leonardo may have had direct conversations, getting all 3 players out of Chelsea, that would be shocking to me. I want to see how financially that's laid out. But, I don't know, John. I don't know.
I'm kind of like I'm like an until proven wrong. I'll sit there and say that, no, I don't see a whole lot of that as true, but, I don't put anything past anything anymore.
All right. England, and then we'll go to a little bit of stoppage time doing some transfers. England, what is the...
England.
What's the thing we need to know most about England?
Well, I think really when you're looking at the Premier League, you're looking at the gaggle that is going to be turning into the relegation scrap in the Premier League right now. I mean, if you look at activity, you've got 15 through 20 separated by 2 points. Fulham, Cardiff, Southampton at 8. Currently, because of math, they're in the relegation zone. Burnley, Crystal Palace at 9. Huddersfield at 10. And then Newcastle, who've won 3 in a row, have pole vaulted out of there with West Ham at 12. So, I think that you're looking at that. I think that Manchester United fans, with the draw that happened last weekend, this past weekend against Crystal Palace, folks aren't too happy about that. Then giving the championship update, because we have to give the Leeds update every single week. Right now in the championship, it's Norwich and Middlesbrough. They're in the 2 spots, but then you're separating 6 points from 3 through 9, which includes Leeds after their hot start. Right now they're third with 33 points, 3-2-1 in their last 6. West Brom, Sheffield United, Derby County with Frank Lampard. They're at 31. Then you've got Forest at 30. And everybody else. Ipswich Town, Kate Riley's favorite franchise from CNN, they're in trouble right now. They're in the drop zone with 11 points. Then you look at League One. We've had a coaching change since the last time I've been on the show. Neil Ardley has resigned with immediate effect with AFC Wimbledon because they lost 9 in a row. They didn't win with the manager bounce. They're still in the relegation zone, but really only 4 points separate relegation from being out of the relegation zone in League One. Portsmouth and Sunderland are up top in League One. And then you look at League Two, and Lincoln City right on top of the ladder, one of the sweethearts of what has gone on in the cup competitions. right now. They're at the top of the ladder on goal difference over the team that us AFC Wimbledon supporters can't mention by name because they are the ones that left town.
I see. I watched one of these games, one of these League Cup games, and I wish to God I had paid attention to who was playing in it because it looked like it was being played in someone's backyard.
That'd be about right.
And it was probably some of the most fun I've had watching English
that's the best
soccer.
part of this.
I mean, the fans were going bonkers. There were maybe about like 5,000 people there total, but they made it sound like there were about 15,000.
Oh, yeah.
The cameras looked like they had been set up by like a high school team. Like they were like, hey, look, we have no fixed positions. We're rolling and we're setting up where we can. And they did a great job. But it was hilarious. It was so much fun. So again, it's on ESPN Plus. If you're not watching these games, I promise, even at your midday lunch break, pop it on, check it out, because some of these games you may not recognize the teams, but there's some quality ball being played. So moving into
stronger and strongest. It is must-watch television for a different reason.
I'm just throwing it out there. It's a lot of fun. So as we move into some stoppage time with the transfers, I just wanted to go over some MLS outbound stuff and maybe one or two inbounds. So there was a rumor kicking around that David Villa was done with NYCFC, that he could be moving back to La Liga or to another MLS team. Have you guys heard these rumors? And if so, do you care to chime in on them? It's a take it or leave it.
I haven't heard anything in detail. It's pretty much been the same old. The question is going to be, what's his contract situation? Because NYC is going to have to make an announcement. I believed that was going to be today. I have not seen any announcement from NYC. Other MLS clubs are making announcements. I think they have to make him an offer to basically keep his rights within the league. And if not, then he will leave. I mean, it's just... The rumors initially were that they didn't want to sign him to another contract. They thought he was going to retire, and they were going to give him a front office job. Sounds like he wants to keep playing. So if NYC doesn't want him, I don't think he goes anywhere in MLS. I don't think he goes to another MLS squad. I think he would go somewhere, and I don't know where that is. Could he go back to a La Liga team? I don't think so. He looked like a player to me in the second half of this season that was on his last legs. He looked like a guy that was a former great who was frustrated because he couldn't do what he used to be able to do, and it showed. So I don't think he can play at that level anymore. Does he go take a payday? Does he go to Japan? Does he go to China? Does he go to India or Qatar or UAE? Yeah, all those are possible. I mean, somebody's going to pay for him if he wants to play, but I don't think he plays at a high level, no.
John Nelson, your turn.
No, I'm down with that. I think that I think it's a payday. I think it's probably UAE or Qatar. Those would be my contenders. And I think that the frustration of not being offered something will carry over, and he just jumps over for a payday overseas.
Well, guys, there is a particular player who would love to take his spot, and that would be Teaneck, New Jersey's finest. Giuseppe Rossi has come out and said he would love to play for either New York Red Bulls or NYCFC should a spot open up. I am 100% rolling with my boy Giuseppe Rossi because I have been rolling with him since the U.S. men's national team fans went bonkers on him because he went and chose the country of his native language to play. I'm on board with my boy. I hope he comes to MLS. I think he would be he would be a blast to watch should he stay healthy, which is highly unlikely. But I want to see him get one more shot, and I'd like to see it in MLS. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
It'd be fun.
I heard a grunt or
fun.
A grunt.
Yeah, that's a word to use.
If you're a fan of either one of those teams, you should stay away. Stay far, far away.
Yes.
He does have knees that collapse like neutron stars, but I do believe that if you were to give him one shot, he could probably give you a season or two, a bridge season to a quality DP. And I honestly, there's no way on God's green earth he's going to occupy a DP slot. So,
no.
So I think you could get him for some production, especially if you're NYCFC and you're playing on the U12 field that they play on, I think you probably wouldn't have to do that much running. So I don't know. Give him a shot. Throw it out there. That's just my take on it.
Traffic cone 2.0.
Hey,
no,
he's not that. No, he's not quite Pirlo. Watch me run in my glorious hair flap in the wind stage of his career. But there have been videos of him hanging around New York, showing up to some events. I think he did a little training bit with the Red Bulls, and just training now, nothing official, just training. Hey, I'm going to put on a kit and run around. So the relationship's there. I don't think it's going to happen with Red Bulls, but NYCFC could use them. So I'm just throwing that out there, guys. Take what you will. I have to talk about more teams than just Atlanta United. You have to keep it open. So I'll just throw that out there. Of course, we have the Pity Martinez conversation that has been taking place that allegedly, he's coming to Atlanta. Based off of what I have witnessed this past weekend, come on, son, let's go. Let's make this move happen. I'm seeing the Martinez move allegedly to Liga MX. I see nothing on this.
No, that was a reporter, I believe, based in Monterrey, who wasn't saying, "Oh, there's an offer." He was saying there should be an offer. That would be a really smart move for Monterrey. There wasn't anything to it.
Okay, good. So there we go. So all the people out there who are freaking out about our superstar goal scorer here in Atlanta flying the coop, it may happen. It would be good business if it did, but I think we're going to have him for another year, and hopefully they follow through and they build that statue that he wants. I'm on board for that.
Just put him on top of the Falcon.
There we go. Yeah, put him on top of the Falcon. Have him riding the Falcon like the kid from the Neverending Story riding Falcor at the end.
How to Train Your Dragon
in the air. That's what I want. I want exactly How to Train Your Dragon. Make it happen. Arthur Blank. What do you want?
I want them to make a statue right next to it. Because you remember on Game of Thrones where he sits in that sea and I want him to have the Game of Thrones.
So he's sitting in the Game of Thrones. The Iron Throne with all the swords and everything, triumphantly, I am the king. You want that statue. Okay, there we go. Arthur Blank, you have options. Make this happen. One last thing before we wrap up. Andres Iniesta has revealed his battle with depression after the Barcelona treble win. I think the fact that he's coming out and talking about this in his biography, The Artist Being Iniesta, where he talks about the stress and the pressure and really the toxic atmosphere that came thanks to Jose Mourinho and how he pitted the teams against each other and how it almost broke the Spanish locker room. I have to say, good for him for coming out and talking about this. He talked about going to see a therapist, and he talked about, all the stuff that really came with dealing with his depression. Shout out to him for coming out and talking about it, because not everyone wants to do that. And if you are out there and you're fighting depression, our boy Andres Iniesta is showing the way. There's nothing wrong with it. Go and get your help. That's what I wanted to close the show with. Guys, anything from you?
It's going to be a busy week, y'all. If you're in Atlanta, if you're an Atlanta United fan, rest up, get ready for Thursday. It's going to be madness.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
I'm not calling anybody Buttercup. No.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
I like that, John. I like that. We need to put that on a sign or something. Buckle up, Buttercup. It's game time.
I'm staying away from that one.
No, you're staying away from that one. Okay,
yeah.
All right. Jackie Fresh, before we get out of here. Miguel.
You've never heard of Buckle Up, Buttercup before?
No, I've heard of it. I said I'm not saying it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, hey, Jackie Fresh wants Miguel Almiron to have a change of heart on going to Europe and stay in Atlanta. Look, Pity Martinez. It's not harsh. It's good business, man. Pity Martinez comes in behind him. We'll talk about it on a hot drop, just me and you. No, that will not happen. I guarantee it. Okay. Soccer over there. It's Nick Aliffi. It's Jackie Fresh over here on our side. We have John Nelson, Jason Longshore. Thank you so much for tuning into our show. We really appreciate it. And give us a shout out. Let us know how we're doing. You can hit me up at Nick Aliffi on Twitter. Jason, John, how can they find you guys?
Longshoe at Soccer Down here.
at OSG Nelson, at Soccer Down Here, soccerdownhere.net. And the apps. Don't forget to download the apps, people.
Download the apps. Be on board with the technology. Mucha Euro, y'all.
A lot of lira, y'all.
All the lira.
I'll be